Welcome to Medium Podcast. It's your host, Melissa Nami.
And hi, it's me, Connor.
And today we've got Reiki practitioner, holistic wellness practitioner, and life coach and the mother effing making Miranda Akkari. Also one of my closest friends. Hey, girl.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming here tonight.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
I want to talk to you about you. Are you ready about that?
Let's do it.
You're like painfully humble.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a fun one. I'm going to
yeah.
extract it. I'm going to squeeze it out of you.
Perfect.
Because I want you to know how awesome you are at the end of this one. I'm going to start off with the basics. You graduated with a degree in, what was it called again? I'm having a brain fart. Hospitality.
Yep.
And you no longer work in hospitality.
Not fully. Yeah, no.
What made you pursue that degree?
Yeah, I think for that one, I almost went to culinary school. Kind of glad I didn't because I took as many of the culinary courses as I could in the hospitality program, but just realized it wasn't the direction I wanted to go. So I think at the end of it, it was just mainly to really found it to be the perfect major to help people and put on beautiful events and create this, these magical moments for clients. So that's what kind of led me down that path.
That's kind of what I felt you were going to say, because in a way, it is kind of a selfless industry to get into. As far as the fact that the basic human you deal with is so below average in their kindness levels, and you ended up continuing more selfless pursuits because you went from event planning, wedding planning. You've been a personal assistant for CEOs and execs, and you currently do that professionally, but you began practicing Reiki.
Yeah.
Define Reiki to me in your own words.
So I will give a little definition just so there's some context, but Reiki, when you break it down, it's a Japanese healing modality. Really beautiful and gentle, but also really impactful. And so when you break down the word Reiki, it's universal life force energy. And so for me, it's really, just a practice to really assist with stress management and with bringing overall balance. And it's working on the primary 7 chakras, helping align those and just bring those into better balance. Sometimes they can be really off-centered, and so bringing that back and really allows that time to just kind of decompress, and at least for the client, and just be able to receive and kind of get that realignment in them. So I always like to simplify it too and just put it as the energy you feel when you give someone you love a really big hug, or you see someone after not seeing them for a long period of time. I mean, even just rubbing your hands together and feeling that warmth, it's energy. So
like an energy exchange between two people. So as a Reiki practitioner, do you have an energy exchange with your clients, or is that more like a opening of energy for your clients?
Yeah, so more so opening the energy, working on their energy. So it's focused 100% on the client. And so they could be seated, they could be laying down. I usually have clients lay down. It could be done in person or remote. And what's trippy to me about that is I've had clients who I've done remote sessions with, describe the session exactly the same or very similar to the ones I've had in person. So it's just, I think the just recognizing and seeing that just energy can travel all across. But yeah, it's 100% working on their energy and assisting in that.
I want to backpedal a little bit because you did mention chakras. And I mean, the average person, me and Connor were kind of asking one another, what do you know about chakras? And he referenced Dragon Ball.
Yeah, just a lot of anime stuff.
Yeah,
that's pretty much most of what I know about it, which isn't everything, obviously.
But it's crazy because they depict it pretty well in in those shows. And I mean, even Avatar, right? The Last
That's
Airbender.
That's what I think of.
Yeah.
Is that scene.
The water flows through this creek, much like the energy flows through your body. As you see, there are several pools where the water swirls around before flowing on. These pools are like our chakras.
So, I mean, it is, they definitely touch on it in those shows, and it's, you know, it's pretty accurate. Because when you think of like the main 7, right? So you have at the base of your spine is the root chakra. Right below the navel is the sacral chakra. So root is like, when you think of like Maslow's hierarchy, right? So the root is feeling safe and secure and just like those essential basic needs.
That's your lowest chakra. So like where my brain goes is like foundation, secure, safe.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Sacral, that's connected with, you know, creativity and like the sexual organs. And so, you know, some relation and things there. And then you have your solar plexus, which is just below the rib cage. And so that one, self-empowerment, confidence, you know, just like the persona. And then heart chakra, center of the chest. And so that's relation, you know, in relation to relationships, with like love. And this is all just very high level. And then throat chakra, so at the throat center, communication. What I love about that one is it's really what vocalizes and puts out and connects, your voice to what you're feeling in all the others. And then third eye, center of the forehead, and crown chakra, top of the head.
That's all 7. I do remember doing a Reiki session with you. This is it's funny that it's like a timeline for us, but I'll say pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
We did that. It was pre-pandemic, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
And that was fun. I fell asleep.
That
and
happens.
You said it was a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think every experience you know, I know this might sound a little silly, but like whatever your experience is what was meant to come up for you. So like for some people, they fall asleep. Some people have really heavy emotional release. So they're like weeping or crying, moaning, you know, some will yell. So it really is just dependent on what's coming up in that moment.
They do that subconsciously, or they're doing that while they're like aware and awake?
So I mean, for at least in my experience, for the most part, like they're aware that it's happening. But there are certain things that just unintentional, like, you know, arm jerks or leg jerks or whatnot. And that's all just energy moving. So anytime, like, sometimes clients feel that, sometimes they don't, because they're in such a deep state of, you know, just more of a meditative state, that they don't feel that. I'll just recognize it when I'm working on them. But that's all just energy moving.
Okay. Do you have an environment in which you prefer to practice Reiki?
I love being outdoors. I think that adds, you know, another beautiful layer to it. It could just get tricky if you're in like a loud, you know, I did a session with a client at the beach once, and we were kind of away from people, but there were still, you know, folks around. So it was a little distracting. But yeah.
It's almost like you need to practice meditation to a degree at that point too, to be able to block out that like outside noise and I guess just the distractions.
Yeah.
All that frequency. I don't know. Yeah, we were looking at the video for the Avatar, the Last Airbender, and you know, Aang says chakras are pools of spiraling energy in your body, and the old man says yes.
Yeah. It's like such a beautifully simple way to describe it.
Yes, it's overly simplified, but it just still makes sense. I guess. Is this like a valid question? Is there a chakra which people typically would you call it closed, blocked, interrupted? What would it be?
Yeah, I mean, I think blocked could be a way to describe it. Just out of alignment, out of balance. There's not necessarily one that I've noticed is like always blocked. But I do see a lot of like within the throat and then the heart centers. There tend to be just a lot that come up in those spaces. So those are probably the two, but it really depends because it's really based on what that person is going through and what they're experiencing. But yeah.
I feel like I'm due for a session.
Let's do it.
I'm all imagine my throat chakra's blocked and if she clears me up, how funny I'll be. Would that?
I mean, you're already funny, but
no. But you get what I mean? Would that work like that? Like, is it like a hindrance of what you wish to say? Is that?
Yeah, so like for throat specifically, yeah, it could be sometimes it's that, right? It's like they're hesitating to vocalize certain things or express themselves in a certain way. For like comedy, for example, like it might even be in relation to the sacral, where it's like maybe there's a creativity block, so you know, jokes aren't coming as frequently as I'm just making this up, but like they usually do when you're, you know, writing or brainstorming on your next set.
You're really good at making things up. This makes a lot of sense. Keep going.
Perfect. So yeah, so it could be in relation to that, and then with wanting to like express that and put that out there, then that would be connecting it to the throat center.
I was like connecting, but they're all connected because in Avatar, the
Always.
pools are all connected to one another. Do they spiral back? Like, or does energy flow? Okay, that's a better, does energy flow one way in our body, or does it have the commutative property?
Yeah, like it flows back up and down, up and around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a lot of questions because I am a little ignorant when it comes to it, but I don't want my ignorance to come off as me being ignorant. You know what I mean? I'm inquisitive.
Yeah, no, you're good.
And it's just fun to me because, you know, I ask you, is there one that's more blocked with some, you know, that you find, or something more frequent? Because a lot of the times as humans, we experience a lot of different patterns amongst one another, whether we want to see eye to eye with that or not.
Yeah.
Because just to be human is to struggle. You know what I mean? Life is pain, whatever we want to talk about it. So it's especially like during these times, tumultuous times, it feels like a lot of people are having an issue either saying what they want to say or saying things the wrong way. And that's where I'm like, if I zoom out and I think about like what I would think is blocked, it would be this, you know what I mean? Your throat chakra. But then you're saying it's not typical, like there's no patterns, but then that's the beauty of humans, is we're all different. We all take stimulus in different ways, stimuli coming in and out. How do you apply Reiki? How do you apply it? Wait, hold up. That makes sense because she said Japanese healing modality. And we learned about chakras in anime.
Yes, okay.
Japanese
I
cartoons.
guess that makes sense.
Yeah. It's all connected. That's cool. How do you apply Reiki to your day-to-day life?
Yeah, good question. So I think, you know, I try to do it. It's definitely not every night, but I try as often as I can, like when I'm winding down for the night, just do a little bit of like self Reiki before I go to bed, just kind of help clear. But really it's just like taking the principles from it and just the outlook of like bringing it all down, and like it brings it down to just unconditional love, right? And so taking it to that space when I'm frustrated or having a really difficult time, like, okay, how can I approach this in a different way here? Like, obviously don't just like bypass it and just ignore what's actually coming up, but like figuring out a way to just bring it back to baseline almost. So that's usually how I'll do it. And
that's a nightly ritual for you?
Not nightly, but I would like it to be. But it's, you know, I do try, and usually at the end of the day I'll do it.
Yeah. I'm sure, I mean, all of us want to move forward with the intention we wish to give ourselves. You know what I mean? You'll get there one day when hopefully life slows down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is a big medium podcast surprise drop right here, because no one's going to expect me to say that you're Lebanese.
I know.
Big drops.
Big drops. Well, it's fun. It's fun because people think Lebanese and think this.
Yeah.
Brown hair, brown eyes, brown skin. You know what I mean? But you're beautiful blonde hair, blue eyes, fair complexion. You're gorgeous.
Thank you.
And, you know, I'm curious, and it's just out of my curiosity. Is there any part of Reiki that you find conflictive with your cultural, or, you know, the cultural values you were raised with and stuff like that? It doesn't necessarily, we can tie it into religion if you'd like, but it's primarily because, you know, we did grow up practicing different religions, and, you know, we'll know what we're talking about, but culturally we grew up exactly the same. Yeah. So I'd like to start there.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. You know, what's interesting is growing up, so my grandma, looked like my German-Irish mom. But yeah, my grandma on my dad's side, the Arab side. So, she, whenever we would like leave for the day or whatever, like drive to work or school or whatever it was, I would notice her just like doing something in the air. And I was like, what is she? And I was just so curious what she was doing. But she was like saying a prayer as we would like go. And to me, it's like same, different name, you know? And it's really just putting that energy and that intention and that belief out there that like there's protection and safety on this person. So that I thought was really cool to see. And then just as I learned Reiki, being able to tie it back to that and be like, oh, like Data was doing this just in a different way. But yeah, I mean, I think it was not difficult, but, you know, so I grew up in a Catholic Islamic household. So my mom's Catholic, dad's Muslim, which I'm so grateful for that we did grow up in that. Of course, when we were younger, I think it was a little bit more, there were some challenging times within that, but at the end of the day, what they did really well was just teaching us to be really good people and just, you know, it was like religion aside, just like be a good person.
Hell yeah.
So
go mom and dad.
Yeah, I know. Good job. And so yeah, I think with like when I was learning Reiki, it was just interesting explaining that to the Arab side of the family, because it was very, you know, you go to like the mosque and you fast and you know, you pray 5 times a day and things like that. And so like, what is this energy healing that you're talking about? What do you mean you're working on someone's chakras? What's a chakra? You know, like it was just, there wasn't really judgment. It was just more so like, what is this? So I was lucky. I didn't really get like pushback on it. You know, it was just more so wanting to understand it better. Yeah.
See, I'm looking at it, and I would have imagined it's just as difficult as like coming out to your family when you're Arab.
Probably a lot less, but depends on what type of family you have.
Just being silly about that. No. I told Connor I was going to make that joke.
She did. I think it went well.
Landed good.
It's just definitely an interesting thing to look at because, you know, I remember being younger and I was a little curious. We all watched the video about animal cruelty, right? I remember coming home that day and I told my mom, I want to be a vegetarian. And what's this? You don't want to eat the food we cook? You know, which is fine, but it's like, I remember that ideal, like, you know, just vegetarianism was taken as so like alien by my mom, my dad, my brother. Like, what is this? You want to do what? Like, and religiously, I can imagine it was like a little like, huh? You know what I mean? But definitely culturally, I could see the question mark there. But I love the way you said it's right, same but different. Yeah, it's 2 sides of the same coin. Yeah, right. Whether you're praying 5 times a day or opening your ritual at night, or if you're, you know, praying the Hail Mary when you're Catholic, you know, it's all a ritual, or what's the way to say it? Like, it's just a practice.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like recently a lot of different practices have been trending amongst our generation, I guess. And a lot of it has been like astrology centered or like witchcraft centered, and it's been thrown around willy-nilly. But then, you know, when you have, I was described to it, it's like, you know, Arabs, you believe in the evil eye. Yeah. And it's like, what is that if not a curse? Isn't that so silly? Evil eye is it's an energetic thing. Yes. And then you're going to question an energy healing modality. Yes. It's just so funny to me. But it's negative energy being thrown onto someone. You wear an eye in order to ward it off. We all do it. And then, you know, if you have an eye, I call my mom if I have one. And I say, you know, if it like Ter'ile, like she reads for me, she'll do the little chant, whatever it is. I don't know what she does, but then she'll like yawn and she's like, yeah, you got one. You know what crazy. I mean? And then she's like, oh, it's going away. So I'm like, but I mean, I don't know. It's all very interesting to me. Do you have anything like that, Connor, that you grew up with?
No, not really. No, I was raised in quotes Catholic, but other than that, like I didn't really have anything spiritual growing up. Yeah.
Whoa. You're just raising a heathen. You heard me, Melissa. A heathen. That's his mommy. You heard me. Good boy. You're raising a
Mom,
heathen.
Tell her I'm a good boy.
If she doesn't comment on this video that you're a good boy, then you're just bad. You're a heathen.
Do you think my mom would ever call me a good boy?
No. She'll be like, Connor's a little bitch.
Yeah, exactly. That's more like it.
It's so funny. Like, you know, I joke around, but then the same thing, his family, they raised him to be just perfect, good person. You know what I mean? Like, but the way they talk to each other is so funny because I never went to my friends' houses and heard like, fuck you, mom.
Yeah, it's me and my mom have a really good relationship. Yeah, we are able to joke around like that and not take it seriously. You know we love each other.
It's so
that.
cool to me because I've trolled my mom. Like, I'll tease her and she's like, you teasing me?
Yeah.
You know, like she'll get upset about it. Like, you don't joke with your mom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wait, why not?
Why can't we?
You're who I want to joke with the most. You have been not name dropped, but you have been subject of this podcast before.
I heard.
Yes. We talked about the darkness retreat that you have signed yourself up for.
Yep. Disclaimer, guys, who saw that episode? Not being locked in against my will.
Okay, so let me tell you what I imagined it was.
Yeah,
It's
tell
like
me.
you show up to a place, they strip you of your clothes and your belongings. They spray you down, they hose you down.
Is this
I'm
prison?
I'm thinking like Count of Monte Cristo,
Oh
you know what
my
I mean? Like
God.
shackles, whatever. And then they take you to a room, they close it, there's a cage, they close it. You eat through a straw. I'm just kidding. No. But I did imagine it as like you can't, not like you can't get out. Like, I'm sure there's an SOS button.
Big red.
Is
help
there?
Me. No.
Can you get out? Okay.
You can get out.
Let's start.
So yeah. What is this darkness retreat?
Yeah.
What is it? Yeah.
Thank
Let's
you.
start from there.
Yeah, so I don't. Okay, so a friend of mine, I was talking with a friend of mine a few years ago. She was telling me about when she did. I don't know where. I forgot where she did it. But she was just telling me about how that was. I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like, that's a trippy experience. I don't know if I'd be down for that. I was intrigued, but not like all gung ho. Let's do it. And then I was listening to a podcast of this gal Blue, and she was speaking on it, and tagged the place she went, and it's in Ashland, Oregon. And I looked into it, and I was like, you know what? This feels like the right time. I think I'm ready to do this. So yeah, I looked into it, and you head there. You have your own little like 1-room cabin that's kind of built into the hillside. And you arrive, you have a day for kind of integration, just settling in, and then I'll be in the darkness for 3 days, and then an integration day afterwards. So
What is in the darkness for 3 days, if not locked into a dark room?
yeah, I mean, you have a point. But I can leave.
Throw it on me. Disclaimer, Miranda Akkari fibbed moments ago.
I mean, I'm in there, but I'm not locked in there.
So can you like ring
I
a
can
bell?
leave. I can I can open the door.
Oh, you
and
could
get
just
out of
open
there.
the door. I didn't know you could do
They
that.
don't even lock the door. Liz is over here making it sound like an actual prison.
When I heard the episode, I was like, oh God. People are going to think I'm freaking nuts.
Well, I
Well, I
still
still
think you're
am, but
nuts.
yeah.
Yeah. I still think you're nuts. Because it's funny. You're like, oh, my friend didn't tell. It's like, does it matter where she went and did it? It's not like she was able to look outside. Like, you could be in
True.
the mountains. You don't get to enjoy the view, you know?
Yeah.
But so how do you get... Did I describe the getting fed thing correctly? Like, how do they feed you? Do they? I imagined like a double door type of thing.
No, they slide it in a tray underneath the door.
But then that would allow light, Connor. You have to understand.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. They just put they just put like dog balls in there.
So like, when you're in a dark room and you kind of open your eyes and you see that little tiny bit of light with the dust kind of floating, none of that?
None of it. Dude, okay, so I went to... Have you guys done a float tank?
I've always wanted to try.
I've actually wanted to try that too. It sounds like really cool.
Yeah.
I think I'd freak out, but I want to try it.
I don't
Do
know
it.
how. I think I'd freak out too because you don't... When they say sensory deprivation, do you not feel like you're in water?
I mean, I felt like I was in water, but
Okay.
it is a warm temperature. Like, it's almost, I think, like body temperature. So you do feel really comfortable, but you do feel like you're in, or at least I did. I felt like I was in water. And I think it depends on the float tank because I know that there are some where you like literally, it's like a spaceship and you like close yourself into it and it seems really claustrophobic. The ones I've been to, it was like probably a room, honestly, with like the height of these ceilings. And it's a big ass door that you can open and you're like laying in there. And it had a light in it, but then at like halfway through, I turned it off. And then I opened my eyes and I was like, oh, did I open my eyes? And that's how, like, so that's what I'd imagine this darkness retreat would be, is just like pitch black. So it was actually good that I did that to kind of have it
like a pregame.
Yeah. Pregame in the darkness retreat.
What the heck?
So
now that's an insane sensation to not know if you opened your eyes, because that's dark.
Yeah. I mean, I knew because from blinking, but otherwise I was like, oh, it looks exactly the same as if my eyes were closed.
Now, when you say integration, is it they're letting you know like exactly what you're signing yourself up for, or?
No, more so, I mean, I guess like the day before it starts is more like, like an orientation. And then at the end is like an integration day where you walk outside, but with like pretty heavy duty vampires. Like heavy duty eye mask, and then you like slowly bring that up, and it's, I mean, I would recommend looking at some of the videos and like testimonials. It's crazy just to see. I'm gonna do that just for you.
Thanks.
But yeah, so then you have a day to just kind of come back into light.
And while your eyes hurt sometimes, like if you're in the sun too long with sunglasses and you kind of move them.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine 3 days with no light.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah.
I know this, I'm assuming that these types of experiences, it's better to go into them expecting nothing, right? But give me a little inside scoop. Are you expecting to gain anything out of this? Is there something that you're hoping to gain out of this?
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Yeah. I really am trying to go in with no expectations, because then I can just experience it for what it is without thinking like being disappointed or being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So really what I'm hoping to gain from it is just more, I tend to be someone who just is on the go, like do this, do that, do this, do that. And I do take time for like, to kind of center and just have that time to decompress and just have, that alone time, etc. But I'm really looking forward to just having the space of not having to do anything and not having to think of like what I have to do for work the next day or what call I have to hop on after work, and so just having just time and space for me without having, any outside obligations for those few days. So
Do they take your phone?
I don't know. I'm turning it off and I'm going to stow it away, but I don't know if they take it or not. I don't think they do. They didn't tell me anything about
They just
that.
make sure you don't take it with you. I mean, because, who signs up for that wanting to cheat?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Good point.
And even if you do, that's kind of on you at that point, right?
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
that's your loss of the experience, not
like-
theirs.
Yeah, you could have just gone to the spa
Yeah.
at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Yeah.
No reading, no stimuli,
Yeah.
no music. I would go
be
crazy.
interesting.
I would go crazy.
Yeah, I'm like addicted to sound.
Yeah.
Like I have to sleep with like noise. Like I'd be done.
Connor would
Yeah.
come out with just like, I don't know how he'd have a pen, but he would have composed music all over his body. Like I gotta get to the studio. Can you is there a way to journal? Cause like,
Yeah. I'm going to bring a journal. It's probably going to look like chicken scratch.
it's gonna
just
like the sentences will like go over one another.
Yeah, I'll
You'll
have
have
to,
to decipher it yourself.
that'll be the whole day afterwards. It's like, what did I write?
Try drawing some pictures while you're in there
There
in the
we
dark.
go.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Oh my God.
And
I'll
see what they
come.
look like when
Yeah.
you're done.
Yep. I'll report back. show them to you guys.
How fascinating. That is such an interesting thing to volunteer yourself for.
Yeah.
I went indoor skydiving this last weekend and I hated it.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, I had fun,
Yeah.
but I didn't like it.
Why?
It was hard.
We were talking about it before the show, and I was laughing. she really didn't enjoy it. She hurt herself.
What? Oh my God. What'd you hit? Like the side of the...
The floor.
Oh, God.
She forgot gravity existed.
forgot.
Do you want to explain this one to him, Melissa?
They make you, that's like part of the fun part. They make
Yeah.
you, they're like, oh, try walking out of this thing. And the air is blowing. And I didn't think about it. I just I would throw my body forward and I kept on getting flung back. So then I'm pushing myself through and I saw the door and I was struggling so much that I grabbed the door And because the air was happening, right, I kind of floated up. I pushed myself through the door, but then gravity exists without the wind, and I just went, oh, boom. But it was this way, oh, boom, because it was this elbow. Ate it.
Yikes.
Yeah, I couldn't breathe. I was having a hard time. There's one moment where I tell the guy, like, nah, and I get on my feet and I walk away. And he's like, what the fuck?
It's like, we've got 10 more minutes here. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah, Chantal did great. But it's like, that's the thing is like, and it's funny because we walked out of that and the conversation was, did you have fun? Yeah. Did you have fun? Yeah. Would you do it again? Yeah. Would you do it again? No. Right? I'm the nah.
Yeah.
And then it was, what an extreme environment that they just let you walk into.
Yeah.
You know, just because you got a couple handles on your clothes and a professional, you know, they just literally like, oh yeah, like, go inside this high wind tunnel.
Yeah, they just bounce you around in a tube.
It's crazy. They tell you, they're like, keep your head, like, whatever. Anyway, it's funny because it was so exhilarating, right? Very fast-paced adrenaline. But I imagine what you're going to be going through is also like a type of adrenaline. Even though I know that's like a weird way to explain it, but like, you don't, I mean, I don't know. I'm afraid of, maybe the more I'm thinking about it, I might be afraid of the dark.
It's been you this whole time. She thought I've been the one that's afraid of the dark this whole time, and it's been her.
Well, when we lived together, I'd wake up at like 4 a.m. to go to work, and he'd leave the lights on. I'm like, Connor's afraid of the dark. He's afraid of the monsters.
But
also
that
that was
doing it for you.
No, that was my sweet way of saying.
I was trying to help her out. She was the one afraid. I didn't want to say anything. Thank you, Miranda.
But no, the more I'm thinking about it, like I'm like, how do you not know? Like, if you fall asleep and then someone goes in there, like you don't know if someone's in there. Yeah. All the witch stuff. But like that's the type of shit that I'm like, how do you know there's no monster? You don't have the comfort of turning on the lights to see no monsters.
Yeah, she's afraid of the dark. It's been confirmed. She's afraid of monsters in the dark.
We can put like a sticker, you know, there's like
Miranda's holding her breath. She's like, I hear breathing, but
not me.
I'm joking. I know that's such a far-fetched idea, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I think I'm afraid of the dark. Okay. That was fun to realize with you. It's true. Because I'm thinking about it and I'm like, that sounds insane.
Yeah.
Darkness.
I mean, it is a little bit, but it'll be interesting.
I think we're all afraid of the dark a little bit.
Yeah. I'm sure
it's scary not knowing what's around you.
When do you do that?
Well, it was supposed to be June, but I think I'm moving it because we have a work event happening right around the same time. So I'm most likely going to do March.
She's rushing to the dark.
I know. It's coming up faster.
I'd love to hear about it from you.
Yeah.
And then we can plug it on the pod too so people can kind of hear about it. Because I mean, you said one of your friends did it. I don't know if a lot of people have friends who have done anything like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Now, thanks to you, I will. And I want to hear about it.
You're welcome.
You say holistic wellness practitioner. Reiki. You are a life coach in the making. It's selfless, very selfless thing that you're doing. I would consider that more of an energy exchange to a degree, because I don't know how you sit through. I mean, can I say that I'm one of your practice students? I've been getting. I mean, it's kind. I've been one of her practice students. I've been getting life coaching from Miss Life Coach in the making, Miranda Akkari, mother effing Miranda Akkari, and I love it. I didn't expect myself to reach the level of vulnerability that I have with you, which is ironic because we are close friends. We talk frequently, but there's been a layer of that that's even been peeled back, ironically, because I went into it trying to be comfortable with something that it made me uncomfortable when you asked me if I wanted to do it. You know, I was like, know
that. Okay.
Yeah. It was no, like not like you made it. Just made me uncomfortable. Like, do I need life coaching? Like, am I wasting her time? Am I wasting my time? And then the more I thought about it, I was like, I don't think so. Yeah. Like, regardless of what it is, I'm going to walk away either learning something about what you're doing or learning something about myself, which unfortunately I did. And I just found out I'm afraid of the dark. Yeah. She's been making me vulnerable. There's all these things you're making me really fucking uncomfortable knowing, Miranda.
Yeah,
you're just
you owe her a nightlight.
You're up leveling.
But this is the weird part of it, right? Is like, when we're talking as friends,
Yeah.
there's reciprocation. You know, I'm telling you about my feelings. You're what's the word? You're resonating with it. You relate to it. We talk to one another. When you tell me something, I relate to it. We talk to one another, and it's been interesting from my point of view talking to you single-sided. And I'm sitting here as your friend, and I'm like, is she going to say something back? But when you don't, it forces me to keep talking, and then that's where that layer kind of gets peeled back, which has been fun.
Yeah, good. That's honestly been one of the most challenging parts for me, because I do tend to be someone who likes to give feedback, and if, of course, they're wanting it, and yeah, have it be more of like a conversation, which it still is a conversation in coaching sessions, but that's what it is. It's like, it's fully client led. Like, I think that's the thing. Sometimes people think, oh, coaching, like they're telling me what to do. It's like, absolutely not. We're actually just asking the right questions to guide you to your own answers. Because if we're throwing in our opinions or what we think is best, it's going to skew, you know, the way that the client approaches the situation or what they're working through, and it won't feel authentic to them. And it could lose the potency or like the motivation behind doing something, because it's not fully coming from themselves. So but it's been challenging to just like have to, you know, especially when I'm like, you know, having practice clients as friends as well, you know, not to give the loving friend feedback. I have to give the loving coach feedback, which, you know, but getting used to
It's still supportive.
Good. Yeah.
I want you still come off as highly supportive.
Sweet.
Even if I was a stranger, I'd feel support. It's an interesting position that you find yourself in, because not yourself, me, like it's an interesting position I found myself in as a client, because when you asked me, I'm like, I wake up every day early, I work out, I eat healthy, I have a good job, and I don't need life coaching. But then I'm like, oh shit, yes, I kind of do, because there's so many goals that I've just thrown to the back of my mind, thinking about these big milestones that I've made.
Yeah.
But there's so many personal things that I've never even taken a step towards accomplishing, because I was just negligent of my own desires, goals, needs. I don't know.
Yeah. All of the above.
So it's been really fun. I'm curious, what made you pursue that? What made you decide you wanted to get into that?
Yeah, so I did a holistic nutrition coaching program certification a couple years ago, and I loved it, and at the same time just felt like it was a little too niche. Like, I love that I learned so much for myself, and I just felt like it wasn't fully the direction I wanted to be going with guiding clients through. And so it was funny, because I think around the same time, I was also looking at this program that I'm in now, and just decided to go the holistic nutrition route. And so, yeah, I just kind of just decided to, you know what's funny, Melissa?
Hit me.
It was in your house that I decided to do it. I had a call with one of the program coordinators and said yes in this room.
Oh, really? When
Yeah.
you stayed the week?
I just thought about that now, yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Let's give another one of these.
Hey.
Yeah, dude, that's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Interesting. Yeah, I just thought about it. But yeah, so I think what just led me down it is wanting to just have more of a general certification that I felt I could utilize more and integrate more with Reiki. I'm diving into learning some herbalism, so wanting to like
Cool.
blend all that together to some, you know, fun offerings.
Very cool. That is
Yeah.
I love the holistic approach to life.
Agreed.
Because it's so often we focus on one singular aspect, and when you do that, you fail to notice everything else around you, and there's so many things that go into making this a healthy vessel that a lot of people don't really realize it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people want to lose weight, right? Like, you can eat a couple Krispy Kreme donuts a day and still lose 10 pounds depending on where you're at in your health. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you're healthy. Right?
Exactly.
Just because you're thin doesn't mean you're healthy. There's people who have 35% body fat and they're thinner than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But what does that mean inside? You know what I mean? And it's also the right energy, the way you feel day to day, because being healthy doesn't make me feel good. You know what I mean? It takes work. It takes a lot of effort.
Yeah. And that's what initially got me interested in the holistic nutrition certification, just because growing up I was super grateful. Like our mom tried to give us more natural remedies instead of like medicine. And don't get me wrong, like we definitely need Western medicine and all of that. Like there's a time and place, but there's so much that we could be doing preventatively that we're just not in this country. And so that's what really got me initially interested in that. And so, yeah, I think just in general, like having this holistic approach to life is honestly the best way to go, in my opinion, because, yeah, it's not just, like you said, you can be working out every day, eating really well, have the right percentage of body fat, but be like chronically stressed because of job or whatever it may be. And that's
poison.
It's like affecting you. And, you know, so it can be a lot to just balance everything out. But yeah, just looking at everything in a holistic manner, and especially like what matters, like different things matter more to different people. So it's like let's say like Melissa's wheel of wellness is going to look different than like Connor's or mine, or at least the percentages around it. So yeah, that's what I love about it. I love about it too, is just connecting with people and like learning. If I could just sit in a room all day and listen to people's stories, I'd be so happy.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by people and, you know, how they've gotten to where they are, what's caused them to get there, what they've overcome, what they've succumbed to, like all those things. So that's kind of, I think, some of the push to do this work.
It's definitely a fun thing, not fun thing, but it's definitely a valid thing to be fascinated by, like the human struggle, the human pursuit of happiness. What do we want to call it? You know what I mean? Because it's different for everybody. Surviving is different for everybody, everywhere, all at once.
There you go.
But it's true. Yeah. It's true. You know what I mean? Like surviving to some people living in California is making it through the last couple days, you know, the last week of fucking rain.
Yep.
That's a big deal to some people. Like some people wanted to drive their cars off a freeway because of that shit. I'm one of them. I wanted to go outside. I wanted to walk my dogs and play tennis. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then survival for other people literally looks like trying to survive another day, you know, whatever they're facing.
Yeah.
And it is fascinating what drives people to continue, you know what I mean, what people push forward for. That was a little dark, so let's backpedal a little bit.
You're always doing this.
I know.
I love it. Afraid of the dark, but goes into it.
I would consider myself like I know I'm happy.
Yeah.
Ish, right? But I'm a generally like sadder person as far as like the way that I see the world and the people around me and how I interact with it. Not sad, but I guess like empathetic. Whether or not I want to be or not. I'd like to be tough and not give a shit. But I'm human. I fear abandonment. I fear not being loved. I fear being rejected. All of those three things are the same thing. You guys know what I'm afraid of too. Okay.
Really laying it out.
But I mean, it's true, you know, we all have faced different things like that. And you know, I've had people I thought were going to be in my life forever just disappear one day, and it's like, oh shit, this is what being human is. Is being confused, hurt, sad, and having to keep moving forward.
Yep. It's trippy. Life is freaking trippy. It's crazy.
Bringing it back to anime, Attack on Titan, Eren Yeager, keep moving forward. That's this sword and this sword. That's this sword. Sorry, I had to. It just comes to my head.
Go for it.
With life coaching, would you compare it in any way, shape, or form to therapy?
It's very different. So that's like a clear indicator. We're even like taught to like share with clients is like, it's not therapy. If we feel like there's a point where we think that would be helpful, like we'll share that with you. Because it's very different. Like therapy, the way I kind of like to look at it is like therapy really, well, you dive deep in both, but therapy, it's like understanding the why and like really digging deep and diving into like traumas and things like that. And not to say those things don't come up in coaching, but instead of exploration around that thing, it's looking at that and keeping that in account, but then asking, okay, how it's more forward moving, in my opinion, the coaching. It's like, okay, what is it that you're trying to work towards right now? And how can I support you in doing so? Which is by asking like the right questions, helping them dive a little bit deeper within themselves. So there is, you know, I'm sure there's overlap, but they are very different.
It's funny because when I had told my friend, one of my friends, because she did life coaching, I told her that I was going to be doing it with you.
Yeah.
And she was telling me that a lot of people that she knows mistakenly, like she says, people who need therapy
Yeah.
will do life coaching first.
Yeah.
Now, is that a thing? Like, is there, like, if you know, if someone's going through turmoil, is it better to, like, I guess the process, order of operations, whatever you want to call it, would it be therapy first, then life coaching? Or is there one that's better to start with than the other? Or...
Yeah, it really depends on the person. I mean, in my opinion, I think doing therapy first is really helpful because it's kind of like uprooting everything, bringing it all to surface, diving into it, and and like
you want them to know their dad didn't hug them enough before they're sitting across the table from you.
Yeah. She wants all the information so she knows what to do with it.
The more self-aware the client is, the more you can keep moving forward.
Well, it definitely helps when they're when they're a little. You definitely don't have to be self-aware, but it helps because then they are conscious of what their patterns have been, what they might still be, and what they're trying to work towards. Where if they're not even aware of that, that's where I think therapy could be really helpful to just really dive into those topics and get a better understanding for self. And don't get me wrong, like I'm just like entering this world. So I know that there are great coaches out there who could do, again, it's not therapy, but they ask the right questions to where it helps the client feel, because some clients do describe it as like, oh, it's my form of therapy. And, for some it is, but I think there has to be some differentiation between the two.
Okay. Is self-awareness, would you say that's like a goal in life coaching, or is that not the ultimate goal?
I mean, I think it's part of it. I think that definitely helps with clients coming to the realizations or recognitions that they're going, that they're coming to within sessions. But yeah, I don't know if maybe it's like an underlying goal, but it's always just client led. So whatever the client's trying to work on, it's like, that's where the direction we're going.
Okay. So, enough about what you do. Now I want to talk about you, because these are very niche avenues that you've chosen to pursue, to put yourself in, and Reiki, life coach, herbal medicines, all of that stuff. It's niche, right? Mm-hmm. And I would say that you've found a very selfless type of way that you've decided to express yourself, right? Your medium happens to be helping others.
Yeah.
Now, how is there a way that you personally express yourself for a release? Is there things that you like to do, or do you feel like your energy being channeled through Reiki and through learning herbal medicine and life coaching, that like channeling your energy that way is the way you feel most fulfilled in expression?
Yeah. So I think I've chosen those things because they excite me and they bring me, like, I do really just love helping others. I know it sounds so simple, but like the base, I think that's why I went into hospitality, why I've gone down this path is just, I just have this desire to support others. And, so yeah, within that, I think it's just, for me, I do get lit up by the work that I do. And I also need like the recharge time, which is usually for me, like I enjoy being out in nature or, like we had a really long month for work in January and I took a couple days off afterwards and I literally just like read all day. So just like things like that. So things that kind of fill up my cup, because that's what I've noticed as well. And what I don't want it to turn into is oftentimes when people are diving into these avenues, right? Like they overextend, or I'll speak for myself. I'm definitely someone who's overextended, what can I do? How can I help you, etc., to the point where it was too much and I was depleting myself. So I wasn't even being able to I was given from like a super dry ass cup. Like it wasn't even droplets in there to be able to offer someone. So,
yet you were trying to nourish others.
Yeah, exactly.
That's difficult.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not fair to them. It's not fair to me. So I've gotten better about that. But yeah, just making sure I'm like replenishing myself so that I could keep helping others.
I love it.
Yeah.
it's one of those things that I've kind of always known about you, that you're very selfless and giving. You've always been a very helpful friend. You're the kind of person I describe as like would take the shirt off their own back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In order to help others. I don't know why.
Are you cold? Do you need a sweater?
No, I'm good, girl. Thanks. It's fun. I like the way how analogous you can be when you're saying these things. Like you mentioned wheel of wellness, and that's a very visual thing for me, and I can kind of see that. You mentioned, your cup being, filling your cup, this cup half full. And it's fun because like I feel like the size of my cup is always changing. You know what I mean? And I wish I could have the same cup all the time, because there's some days where I'm more patient. There's some days where I'm more calm.
Yeah.
And those are the days I'd say I pulled out my bigger cup. You know what I mean? Like I can handle a little more before I feel overwhelmed. But then there's some days I pull out the teacup.
Yeah.
Teaspoon even. If let's keep on going down the whatever. But those days are really, really difficult to differentiate in the moment.
Yeah.
When you're doing life coaching, do you feel as though that's something that's easy to teach people to differentiate?
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, I love the way you put that, because I've always just looked at it as like the level within the cup, where it's like, that's a perfect way to describe it, of like certain days it's like a bigger cup, certain days it's a teaspoon, so I think it really just depends on what makes the most sense for the individual. But yeah, I'm not necessarily like showing them that or trying to show them that. It's just recognizing like what it is for them. So like if someone's like describing something, it's like, okay, it sounds like there's not a lot of tolerance for something like that, or tolerance for that behavior, tolerance for that kind of situation. What are your thoughts?
No,
on
Miranda,
that?
life is overwhelming. Can you fix it?
No. As much as I wish I could, no.
Fix it. It's true though. It's just crazy to me, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to put everything I want to talk to you about in all of these, because like I feel like I could talk to you about Reiki for an hour.
Yeah.
Just trying to ask you about it, trying to ask you how you tie it to certain things that I know you enjoy, like astrology and all of these things, and talking about the spirituality behind it. I love it. We're definitely gonna have to throw in a part 2 on this little sucker right here. Miranda, do you have anything you want to plug? Anywhere people can find you?
I mean, primarily Instagram, Mir_Akkari.
If someone's looking for a Reiki healing session, do they hit you up on Instagram?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. If you're looking for a Reiki healing session, if you want to get in touch with the mother FN Miranda Akkari, you find her on Instagram at
Mir_Akkari.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming, Miranda.
Thank you.
I've had a great time.
Me too.
I love you. I love you so much. I love you guys so much. Thank you for listening. Like, share, subscribe. You're the best.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.